Nope. Disconnect, reconnect. It's just not going to work. OBS is...
Okay, hold on.
Reconnection successful. Disconnected again. Disconnected, reconnecting. Encoding overloaded. We're not doing anything, but OBS can't figure that out.
Hold on.
Hey guys, we're live. We're just trying to figure out what's going on with the studio program we use. We're having issues. It doesn't seem to be manageable at this point, so give us a minute.
Not really sure what it's doing and why it's doing it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Here we are, though. Live. Seems like it's okay now.
Let's do the intro and kick it off, I guess.
Well, yeah, there we go. All right, intro. do 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 do. We'll just pull the intro screen up and see if that does anything.
This is going to be one of those days, ain't it, sir?
It's never going to stop. Just do the intro music while we talk. It's totally fine. Hello, James in chat. How are you? We're about to kick this off live at some point or another.
At least that's what we think. We're good.
We hope.
We're good.
Round 2. I don't even have any matches to light my cigar with. I didn't even think about that. Son of a gun. Oh, man. Hopefully we're actually live, folks. This is Jay for Vanishing Gates. Welcome to our 80th episode. our third installment of the series on urban legends. And tonight we're joined by our tech guy from Chi-Town, or well, Chicago anyway. You know, that area, Illinois. Illinois, Nick.
Illinois, Northern Illinois. What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk about Resurrection Mary, amongst a couple other things, our local legends here in the Chicagoland area. So let's start off with Resurrection Mary. Resurrection Mary is a folklore or urban myth dating back to about the 1920s, mid-20s, early 30s, involving a city of Justice, Illinois, specifically the cemetery, which is the Resurrection Cemetery of Archer Avenue in Justice, Illinois. It is a quite large, quite historic, quite old cemetery dating back to the early 1800s. It also is famous in this local area for pertaining some of the oldest war graves and war heroes' graves in the state of Illinois. So, let's give you some backstory on the Resurrection Mary. Resurrection Mary revolves around a myth involving a female hitchhiker who has been known to trot up and down the Archer Boulevard roadway to be picked up, soliciting, obviously, a ride. She gets in your car. She asks you to take her home. When you take her home, you take her to a location that, depending on who tells the myth, is at or around or close to the cemetery. She either leaves a shawl or a sweater or a purse or a bag or a scarf, depending on how far you go back and listen to these stories. She'll leave it in your vehicle, your car, or your buggy, and you, being the gentleman you are, you try to take the shawl, purse, scarf, whatever, take it back to her, only to find out that Resurrection Mary, or Mary, is not a real person, that she is but a spirit. There have been reports of people becoming missing. Now, I did do a lot of background searches on this, and I did do some background information on it. I couldn't find no documented cases for lost people. What I did find was a lot of old articles dating back to like 1940, 1935, 1936, 1938, in which they talked about missing persons in the area, people who vehicles were found but they were not found. But this is also a time in the 30s in Chicago, and if you don't know your history, this is a very much a mob-driven town. So there's a good possibility that they found that vehicle because the dude was killed and buried someplace by the mob.
I have to interject. In chat, James asks, who has a buggy? I was wondering the same fucking thing.
Hey, I know.
Are buggies still running around in Chicago?
And with hydros, too.
A little jealous. Yeah, I kind of want a buggy, man. A horse-drawn buggy.
Don't be jelly.
Oh, man. And a good hairpiece. It'd be great.
So, anyways, get back to the story. So, what has happened over the years is Resurrection Mary has gone from an urban folklore to actually being, I would almost say, like a boogeyman type deal for this area. A lot of people in this area will tell you you shouldn't be out after night or you'll see Mary. You shouldn't walk by cemeteries late at night because Mary's watching. Mary is very much used as a form of vernacular to scare children. Like, Mary's going to get you. Mary's watching you go to sleep, or Mary will come. And even as a kid, I can remember that my mom and dad would tell me, if you go out after dark, nighttime, and I grew up in a smaller community where there was no street lights at the time. If you go out after dark, Mary could get you. And I never really understood what Mary meant until as an adult, and then I got old enough to understand what Resurrection Mary was and the whole myth behind it. But Jay asked me to co-host tonight because obviously I live in the area and I've heard of these things. So, but anyways, let's get back to Mary. Okay, so general rule of thumb is people they go to take back the item and they come up missing. Now, there's been a couple, I don't want to say liars, let's just say people of persuadable talking that came out and said, oh, well, I was there and it happened to me and I got away. Well, let's be honest. If it's a real ghost and she is known to kill people, how the heck are you getting away? You're dead just like everybody else. Anyways, but whatever. So there's a couple of stories that come out where guys say what happens is they'll go to hand back her purse or her bag or her shawl, and that as they hand it out to her, the straps of the bag will wrap around their arm and pull them in tight to her, or that she uses the straps to tie them up, and that she takes them to an undisclosed location in the cemetery. Now, mind you, just so you understand, Resurrection Cemetery is the largest cemetery in the state. So we're not talking like, we're talking about the size of Arlington. That's how big it is. So it's huge. It's huge. Jay's scratching on the mic over there. I'm not really sure what's going on. You got a beat going there, Jay?
I had something on the monitor. I was trying to clean off.
Okay. All right.
Wicca.
I didn't do it. Jay did it. Anyways, like I was saying, so there's been some stories that she takes you to an undisclosed grave site where when you get there, you see it's her grave, her picture's on the tombstone, blah, blah, blah. Now, I find that hard to believe because we're talking about a cemetery that is been closed since the 50s, I believe, or the 60s I was reading. They haven't had no active burials there since the 50s or 60s. Reason being is it's just filled. So, and I can't think of them having the technology, honestly, to engrave a human face into a gravestone back at the time where Mary's supposed to be. Supposedly her body is from, or their grave is from the early 1800s. But I wouldn't see that being possible if supposedly, quote unquote, her face is engraved in the graves, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm more skeptical than I am a believer, but whatever, here we are, Vanishing Gates.
See, like the story I had heard, it was quite different. It wasn't so much a bogeyman kind of story. It was someone would pick up a hitchhiker, this gal, and she would ride with him and leave behind a sweater or whatnot. Right. But she wanted to ride because she lived next to the Archer Avenue Cemetery, or the Resurrection Cemetery, and she would get out of the car and walk in the cemetery, or she would vanish, and the driver would think that she had gotten out of the car but she would leave a personal item behind after having given her address to the driver. And the next day, the driver would go and knock on the door of the house that was her address. And the story was, he'd go up and say, "Hey, Mary lives here, and she left her sweater in my car." And the elder lady that answered the door would say, "Well, it's impossible. My daughter Mary's been dead for many years. She's buried across the street in the cemetery."
Version of the story.
Yeah, I had never heard the darker version of it.
So that's true. Like I said, this gets really screwed over here on this one because, like, even if you take the time, like right now, and you go online and there's a wiki page, there's a couple other pages for it. Even the wiki page, there's two separate columns. One's one story where she's a lone wanderer who gets picked up. The other one is she was out dancing and gets taken home. But either way, they're both kind of far-fetched.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're Vanishing Gates, so we believe in a lot of stuff, okay? Okay.
We're open to it. We don't necessarily believe it. Now, stories like this, phantom hitchhikers, we'll say, have gone back for centuries. Like,
time.
Yeah, as far as we can go back, there's stories of phantom hitchhikers. I mean, I can't name them all. You guys can check them out. But, I mean, this is a part of human culture that keeps continuing on the story. So that goes back to the urban legend part. It's like, what makes an urban legend? What makes a fairy tale? I think fairy tales are really urban legends, technically. If they keep... Yeah, and the same thing with creepypasta. I asked that question, a couple weeks ago, and my co-host didn't quite understand what I was asking, I think. Jack, Paco, looking at you.
Not mention no names.
But I think that creepypastas can become urban legends. If people believe it, but what's the point of an urban legend? With this Resurrection Mary story, it's a little different than, like, say, a black-eyed kid story or whatnot. With that, it's like, don't let strangers into your house. With this, maybe it's don't let strangers into your car, but I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure what the point of the... It's a weird thing with the Resurrection Mary story. Like, what's the moral behind it? Because it's what most folklore and stuff is based on. What do you think?
I don't know. Honestly, I think initially it probably was something that was... Okay, let's start at the beginning. I guess the whole ride thing of people being scared, there's always that inalienable story. It doesn't matter where it's from, about the ghost rider or the spirit ghost or the highway banshee. The highway 404 banshee is a very popular one.
Never heard that one.
The highway 1 mistress from your neck of the woods. There's always that tale of beware of the road, beware of who's you pick up, and I think that's the reason why most people, especially Americans, are very wary of hitchhikers or anything to do with hitchhiking. But in the same point, it's like all things, like you said, all fairy tales probably have a tooth of truth in a folklore.
Yeah.
I would say that 90%. I would even go farther. Probably 99% of the folklores or the fairy tales that we know as of today, like legit old school 16th, 15th, 14th century fairy tales. I'm not talking about Hansel and Gretel, because just so everybody knows, that's from the 1800s. I'm talking about old school fairy tales, even like Jonah and the Whale. So here, let's not get biblical, because that's not our channel. But so the great story of Jonah and the Whale from the Bible. That's the funniest fact about one thing. Every religion on the planet has that story in some form or another.
Yeah.
Jonah and the Whale. Okay. Just like
the Great Flood. Every culture has a story of the Great Flood too.
All of it. Even ancient Sumerians had the Great Flood. So that tells you that these probably were folklore or told stories that became doctrine to us over the years. I think 70% of the Bible is probably folklore that people have doctorated as, they saw it or they were there, blah, 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 whatever. Not to say I'm not religious. We don't do that here, so I'm not going to go into that. But, because that starts fights between me and Jay. Anyways, yeah. By the way, guys, just so everyone knows in this channel, me and Jay have the absolute best arguments.
Oh, the best.
We still love each other.
They're not marketable, though. They are not marketable.
No, they are not for the public.
Nick and I are absolutely brothers to the death. We might not agree on everything. We agree on a lot of things.
Sometimes
The things we don't agree on. You guys don't want to be there for that monstrous nightmare.
We don't agree. We don't agree.
We are two of the best insult slingers in the world, me and Nick.
So, anyways, yeah, like I was saying, like I would say, Jay, honestly, I couldn't think of a fable or a story. I mean, besides the Disney crap, that doesn't really make sense, anyways. Pinocchio, yes, or whatever. You're retarded.
I'm a real boy.
Yeah, you're a real simple, right? So, by the way, Walt Disney was a Nazi. Move on from it.
That's another urban legend.
Nothing new to it.
I did try to find, because I grew up hearing that Walt Disney was a Nazi, and he wasn't a Nazi, but he did donate to the Nazi Party financially.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that he was a Nazi, but I think he was trying to do something in Germany with his company. I think that's the entire thing of it. It's not that he agreed with them. I think it was just...
He actually, I read a book. He had proposed Hitler use the Mickey Mouse logo to help to recruit young people into the Nazi Party.
In the Hitler Youth and whatnot?
Yeah, he wanted him to adopt and pay for the use of it, to use it as part of his promotional ability. But it never worked out, thank God it did. But God bless Walt, dude. Did this. He's frozen somewhere, looking down on us. Anyway.
Whatever, his head's frozen somewhere in a mountain. Or launched into space.
God bless him. Not your house, Jan. I don't want to talk about that. Bye-bye. Anyways, we're getting way off topic. You know what? We're having fun. So
well, we're not off topic because we're talking urban legends. We just haven't gone back to Resurrection Mary yet.
Poor Resurrection Mary. She got. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So, anyways, back to Resurrection Mary. So the point you get, the story you're talking about, where she was at a dance club. So the dance club that they're talking about was a dance club called Old Harry Ballroom and Inn. Okay, it was in Willow Springs, Illinois.
Okay.
It's now known as the Willowbrook Ballroom. Here's the problem with that. So Willow Springs is about 20 miles away from Justice. And in 1930, with the average highway speed in Illinois being 25 miles an hour, and most people, there's people that are from the 30s, 40s, and 50s that have never left the city of Chicago. There's no reason to. And there would be no reason for her to leave Justice, because it is a suburb of Chicago. It has always been a suburb of Chicago. In fact, Justice, the bordering line of the other side of Justice is Gary, Indiana, which is still Chicago. So I have a problem with her going to Willowbrook and dancing at Willowbrook because, first of all, back in that day, they wouldn't have had dances that were 20, 30 miles away because the travel times would have been too high, okay? Maybe 2 or 3 miles away, yes, but not 20, 30 miles away because you're talking an hour. And by the way, most cars couldn't even do the 25 at that point. Most cars, their top speed was about 13 miles an hour.
Yeah, see,
okay.
The story that I heard, though, you mentioned buggies earlier. The story that I heard about a couple of jazz musicians or whatever staying late because they were from out of town, watching this gal get onto a carriage, a buggy, horse and buggy.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe, I mean, we could ask Whitey Bulger because he just died. Maybe he knows.
God bless it, Angel. God bless him. You leave Uncle Whitey alone.
We could have he's from your neck of the woods too, right? So we could have a seance and pick up old dead Whitey Bulger and say, hey, buddy.
He did nothing wrong.
Oh, man. That guy loved to kill people. that was his get-off. It was his hobby.
I'm just saying, folks, he's one of Jay's people.
Hey, Irish Mafia. I'm not all that Irish, I guess.
Ish.
Okay, no, no.
Jay's eyebrows yet? Anybody?
I have eyebrows. I see a better camera and lighting.
Yeah, you got a lot better
come on,
lighting,
son.
like a microscopic camera.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, I do have eyebrows, though. It's because my eyebrows are blonde, the rest of my hair is red. It's not fair. It's a weird trait that I have. I don't know. At least I'm not Jack, who's balding from the everywhere but his back.
Alright, so back to Mary. Drugport Dragon. So then there's stories that go farther on to say that Mary was spotted in Liberty Grove, Illinois. Now,
where's that?
That's unfreaking believable. Because Liberty Grove would be, oh my God, it would be 25 miles from Justice.
Okay.
Just makes no sense. Now, those sightings come from like the 1930s, late 30s, early 40s. Then you got sightings that come in the early 70s that said she was sighted on Cicero Avenue by the Midway Airport. Now, that could be more believable because that would be 2 or 3 miles within Justice. But even then, in the 70s, trying to get to Cicero Avenue, I mean, I don't know if you folks know the Chicagoland area, but we have a couple streets here, 1 or 2. And traffic's a little notorious here. There's just no way. Just no way. It would make no sense for somebody to take her from Cicero back to Justice. But, you know, like I said, neither here nor there. It's... you got reports like that from 75, I think, 74, all the way up through like 88, 89. Somewhere was in there. So you get those reports of that, you know, she was spotted at Cicero. And then you got a detailed report that came out in the early 80s or late 70s. Like, hold on, let me look at my notes here. I'm going to cheat a little bit. 1989, an article came out in the Chicago Suburban Tribune from a columnist named Bill Geist, who details the stories of a cab driver, Ralph, who picked up a young woman, a looker, a blonde. She was young enough to be my daughter, 21 tops, near a small shopping center at Archer Avenue. A couple miles up the road, she disappears from his cab, never to be seen again. Only traces he finds of her is a small satchel. When he tries to look through the satchel for evidence of her being or who she was, to try to obviously get his cab fare, he finds no information in the bag. So, you know, it's like all these stories of the Vanishing Hitchhiker and the true identity of Mary, all these are kind of here than there. They say that they know who Mary is. She's supposed to be the person by the name of Mary Bogdanov, who died in 1934. But that makes no sense because we have reports of Resurrect Mary that goes back to 1929. So,
yeah,
you know, how can you die in 34 and be around 29? And then there's people who say, well, it's Maria Nolstick who died in 1927 in an auto accident. Okay, well, if you actually do the background search like they did, because they did a large write-up on this a couple years ago in the Tribune. They went and looked at the death records of Maria Nolstick, and she died from a horse carriage. She died in a horse carriage accident. So she wasn't in an automobile. So, you know, this is what I'm talking about. There's so much folklore here or there. You know, this is what really happened. This is what really happened. And in the end, there's really no proof of what really happened.
Yeah.
I would say it's generally in the eye of the beholder around here. A lot of us are told the story as a child to scare us to sleep or scare us into being good. It doesn't work for some people like me, but it makes people like me want to go to the cemetery. But you know, even today, you know, like Puerto Ricans choose the word kukui, boogeyman. Okay, you know, I tell I'm Puerto Rican. I tell my kids when they're little, you know, if you go to bed, the kukui will come get you. You know, stay in the house, kukui's outside. You know, so I guess that kind of goes to the same thing. The same with boogeyman.
So, you know, what the hell's a kukui?
Kukui is the boogeyman. Kukui is the boogeyman.
So what's the story of Kukui though? Just because there's different boogeymans. I'm working on it. I've been working for like the last 2 months on a pre-recorded boogeyman show. So what's Kukui? I think I brought it up too on my notes for the show, but I haven't got there yet.
Kukui is well, another subject we're going to touch on. Kukui is the Mothman.
Okay.
So Kukui is a black flying creature who circles the night skies and can swoop down and snatch you up and take you away. Okay? Same with Mothman. Mothman's a black-winged creature who swings around the skies, who attacks at random at night.
And there have been lots of, ironically enough, we did a show, Jack and I back in the day, one of our first shows was The Mothman Cometh.
Right, what'd you say?
Huh?
I'm sorry, can you start me?
I said...
There we go. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're here.
Oh, okay. Way back.
It's ironic to bring it up because one of the first shows that me and Jack did back in the day was called The Mothman Cometh. And it was about the Mothman of Point Pleasant, Illinois.
Right.
And right after that happened, or last year anyway, there were sightings all over Chicago of Mothman.
Which happened to all coincide, just so everybody knows, Mount Pleasant is a very large coal mining country.
Mm-hmm.
And all the sightings that happened last year were all around coal repositories or old coal refining facilities. So
yeah. But there was a lot of sightings too in the news over Chicago. Recently, between when we did that show and now, there have been sightings of Mothman. And then last year, you guys had some serious freaking flooding right after all the sightings first kicked off of Mothman.
There was video footage. I mean, I've actually been trying to find the footage. If somebody happens to come across it, it would tag it to us on the Vanishing Gates page. It'd be great. It would have been from last year. There was actual video footage of the Mothman caught on camera over, I believe, Palestine, Illinois.
And it's some crazy footage.
Yeah, legit footage. Like, not like fake, oh, look, mommy, it blurs out just magically. Like, it's high def, legit footage. And I think that's the reason why I'm having a hard time finding it, because it was very much, you can tell, something that we don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, you guys get a lot of story. You're in Chicago, you're in Illinois. You guys still have Thunderbird sightings all the time, and pterodactyl sightings of all fucking things. Like, it's a thing that you guys actually experience on the regular, and people.
Yes.
Of course, the video is always shoddy and whatnot, but it's always the question is. Oh wait, Mothman of West Virginia. Yeah, Cox, you're right. Point Pleasant, West Virginia. You're correct. Not Illinois. I was incorrect. I meant West Virginia. But you're a beautiful man, James Cox, in chat. We love you.
You are beautiful.
But yeah, there's stories that were happening in Chicago of the Mothman right after the show, and me and Jack were talking about it. Holy crap, something bad's going to happen. And guess what? You guys had huge floods.
Massive floods.
I mean, your house was actually like, or one of your properties or something. I remember talking to you about it.
I had 2 feet of water on my up in my foundations of my house. Like, I had water up onto my covered patio porch.
What was it, Illinois River or something flooded? I'm not sure what river it is.
Fox River went over.
The Fox River.
Big time.
Yeah, and it was all over Chicago. Like, people are still saying Mothman. And what happened last time before that you saw Mothman, that bridge collapsed. Well, there's actually, that's not the last time. Between there and that, tither and thither, there was a story in, like, I think Germany or something, where some miners saw Mothman, and he prohibited them from going into the mine, and the mine had an explosion or some shit.
Yep, yeah, I can see that. So that's what I'm saying. I think there's got to be something substantial to this Mothman thing. I think it's stuff like that, Jay, is where we get angels and demons from, honestly. Think about it. So you see this dark, sinister, winged creature, and it's always preceded by some horrific type of catastrophe. Then automatically we automatically, our brains are looking for some kind of association. What do we associate to? The Bible, good and evil, demons and angels, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I seriously think a lot of that comes, same with angels. You ever notice why whenever people talk about having a near-death experience, they always say there was a bright white light and they could see their family members? Well, there's a reason for it. Our brains are looking for something to grasp on, something spiritual to grasp on, than something physically we don't understand.
Yeah.
And the same goes with that. So.
Well, that goes back to like sleep paralysis and old hag syndrome and whatnot. Like, your body, your brain and your body have a function that don't always coincide. The rest of your body, like you have your awake state and your sleep state, and there's a big difference between the two. Like, I get sleep paralysis when I sleep on my back. I know when I slip into my hypnagogic stage that if I'm not careful, I'll have a night terror or, a night visitation, quote unquote, or whatever they call it.
Right.
I know that when I slip back into when I'm moving into the hypnopompic stage, that it could be even worse. Because what's happening is when I sit on my back, my lungs don't always want to function properly. My throat doesn't always function properly. Because I run very dehydrated. Like,
you're so dehydrated.
I don't drink very much water. But what happens is, like, the reason most people have nightmares.
He tries to make up for it in beer. Trust me, folks.
hey, it's 70% water, just like me. It's like cannibalism of the liquid, liquid cannibalism. But what happens is when you're slipping into these stages, your brain, when it knows that your body's in trouble, when you slip into that the subconscious part where you're dreaming. Your body's trying to heal. So your brain goes into this, like, you know how your TV it's not always on. It goes into, like, the sleep mode where it's, like, trying to conserve energy but not erase all its data. That's the same thing your brain does. And so what happens is if there's a power surge, if you would, or your body's in danger, or your brain realizes you might be hurting yourself, it gives you a nightmare to wake you up. Or it does something to wake you up. Or if you're super stressed out, your subconscious can also use that sleep mode for you to deal with the stress of things. So it's very psychological and very deep. It's not always one or the other, but when it comes to the things when you're like half awake and you have a hallucination and it wakes you up, that's, the hypnagogic stage where you're slipping in and you have a night terror kind of thing that wakes you up because your brain's just like not ready to function yet. Your brain is already stressed. Your body's stressed, and one has to wake the other up.
Am I the only lunatic in the world that likes that feeling when you feel like you're falling when you're half asleep?
Am I the only person in the world that's died in his dreams? I've done it many times.
I have. Welcome back.
You're not supposed to die in your dreams, they say.
I know, but
I think that's an urban legend, too. I think that's a Hollywood urban legend. You're not supposed to die in your dreams. Hell no. I've died in my dreams many times.
Stabbed another couple times. So, anyways, let's get back on topic. We're getting fancy talking here. Okay,
yeah,
so let's go to the next urban legend. Let's see what else we got here. Let's talk about, if I was a fancy guy, and what's a good one? We can talk about Homie the Clown. Holy God, let's talk about Homie the Clown.
Homie the Clown. You mean Homie the Clown, or you mean the actual creepy guy from Chicago?
The creepy guy from the early 90s. Homie the Clown.
I don't want the Wayans brothers attacking me, all right?
Okay, so Homie the Clown was in the early 1990s. There was a bunch of kids that reported a clown driving around in this vehicle, and on the side of it said Homie the Clown. He used to cruise the streets in this creepy-ass van, and he would try to lure the kids into the van to do unspeakable things to them. Well, the story goes is that they finally got to a point where they were going to corner him. They had gotten a tip to where he was going to be. They had some surveillance or something, and people had noticed him there in this area for a couple times. So they went to go arrest him. They got in a small street chase, and they pulled him over on Wacker Avenue. When they pulled him over on Wacker Avenue,
Wacker Avenue,
Wacker, pulled him up to Wacker.
Of course they did.
Van. When they ran up to the van was empty. There was nobody in the van. Nobody on the street. Nobody in the van. Now that was such a big thing, believe it or not. As a kid, a younger man, I actually remember that story being on the news. Channel 7 News.
At the same time, though, when you grew up as a kid, there was a clown and a group of clowns going around doing horrible fucking things in your area.
You leave him alone. I loved him. He gave me candy.
The Man Who Loved Boys was the book I read as a child.
Yes.
I read that book because my mother had it. Hey, Em, I know you're in chat. Mom, thanks.
Thanks, Bob. You did such a good job with it.
Good old John Wayne Gacy. What was his clown name?
Sure, Mom. I'm gonna got somebody shot this way.
What was Gacy's clown name? I can't even remember. He had like poppets or some bullshit.
What, you know what? We got Google.
Yeah, why aren't we Googling this? Yeah, no, but there's a reason this clown thing happened, because in Chicago he wasn't the only one too. He was the ringleader And this is not urban legend. This is a real thing. Mom says, "Hey, you were informed in chat." Yeah, thanks, mother. I was informed. Yes, I was. We'll talk about communion later, Mom.
Bogo the clown.
Pogo, yeah. So,
God bless that angel.
here's the crazy that angel.
Like, you must want to throw that out there.
Talk about the Mothman. Where was the Mothman to warn you about John Wayne fucking Gacy? He wasn't the only... The thing is, the craziest thing is he was the ringleader of a group of clowns that did this stuff. Like this. He's the...
Do you know how many famous serial murders are from this area? I mean,
Dude.
for the love of God.
We got a couple here, too, but that guy... Oh, my gosh, man. John Wayne Gacy, like... First of all, he was a clown. A creepy-ass clown. But he had other clowns. Other clowns that were involved. Like... And they would roll around in their pedo van, and they would assault boys, and kill them. Like, how many bodies did they find in their fucking Gacy's house? Oh, good Lord. The question is, how many have been found because of his clown brethren? Good Lord. No wonder people are scared of clowns. You think it's scary? Oh, good Lord.
I don't think it's got nothing on Gacy. He was an angel of death. He was something else. The only one I think that honestly, there's only two people I would say that even come close to him, and that would be Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer was a sick individual.
Dahmer was cute, yeah.
And Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy just didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the other project I'm working on, we're going to cover all of them. Me and Matthew Brockmeyer, the Humboldt lycanthrope. He would howl if he was here right now because it's his thing. Yeah, we're covering people that do things like that, and it's just, oh God,
Join us here on Vanishing Gates when we talk about serial killers. The funnest topic.
We do talk about this. I mean, this is not the first time we covered true crime, you know. But yeah, no, I mean, so the clown thing. You're talking about Homie the Clown. That came from that In Living Color thing. I think it spread from there because it was which Wayne's brother was it? The funny one. It was the funny one.
The funny one. One of those.
Not Keenan Ivory, right? It was Damon.
I don't remember.
Whichever one was, I should probably Google this. I don't want to kick my ass. Hold on. 1 second, folks.
I mean, in my area, if I type in Homie the Clown, guess what comes up?
A bunch of sexual stuff, probably.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Damon Wayans. That one. The funny one. I was right. I'm not worried that Keenan Ivory Wayans is going to kick my ass, but Damon Wayans probably could. But he was Homie the Clown in Living Color back in the 90s. Grew up with that.
Mom told us Damon. She knew.
He had a sock with a rubber ball in it. He'd smack you in the head. Homie, don't play that.
The Herb Brudermeister.
The what?
I was bringing up stuff from 16th century colonial touch.
Herb. What about Herb Bauermeister?
Brudermeister.
Bauermeister. Okay, we're looking in chat now. My mother's asking me to look up things in chat. What about Herb?
Pay attention, folks.
Is it Herb or Air? Mom, I think your German sucks. I think it's Air Bauermeister. Yes. Could be wrong. This is a question for Heather, not for me. Bauermeister. Nothing.
Absolute nothing.
Sorry, Mom. In chat, nothing. Not a damn thing.
Mom.
Fox Hollow Farms Killer. Oh, it is Herb. Oh, that's why.
It's
not
Herb.
Air.
Yes.
All right, Herb. Fox. Guys, we're so professional. We're Googling things right now, both me and Nick.
Yeah. we have no idea what the heck we're talking about, guys. We just go ahead.
I put Herb Bauermeister and all I get is Fox News. Weird.
Okay, Herbert Richard Bauermeister, April 7th, 1947, July 3rd, 1996, was an American man who was suspected of being a serial killer, a resident of Westfield, Indiana. Bauermeister was also under investigation for murdering over a dozen men in the early 80s, most of whom were last seen at gay bars. Well, he likes the boys, you know.
Well, with a name like Dick, I mean, you know.
Yeah, Herb Richard. I mean,
Herr Dick Bauermeister.
Oh my God.
He what?
He was the founder of Save-A-Lot stores.
Nuh-uh.
I swear to God, I'm reading it right here.
No, what's a Save-A-Lot store? Never heard of that.
It's Aldi. It's Aldi's, basically.
No.
It's Aldi's.
I'm still getting sued right now over this.
Nationality America. Spouse Julia Baumeister, founder of Save-A-Lot. Children: Erich Baumeister, son Emily Baumeister, daughter. Parents: Elizabeth Baumeister. His dad was Adolf Hitler. Nobody knows.
His dad was probably some poor potato farmer from Wisconsin or some shit.
His dad was his first victim.
Bauermeister.
Thanks, Mom. That's kind of stuff to keep me up happy.
Oh,
yes,
man.
Bauermeister. I got it. You want the link? It's wonderful. It's great.
Don't want it.
It's bedtime reading for children.
We'll send that to Matt. We'll do that for the next show we're doing. Their podcast. Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. It's not like Wayne Ford.
That's what worries me just a little bit.
It's not like Wayne Ford, dude. Nick, you missed that one.
In the background of a set of index cards pulling up all these case murders and shit.
Nick, you missed Wayne Ford. He's a local guy. He walked into a police station with a tit in his hand and tossed it on the counter.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. He's a real winner, that guy.
Carry a little titty with you all the time.
And that's not an urban legend. That's
an urban fact.
No, that's a fact. That's an absolute fact. There's no questions there. He's in prison right now. He's still alive. Gobshite.
Blush him every one. Well, at least he had a certain thing he liked. Titties, obviously.
Who doesn't like titties? I love titties.
Jay, we're going to keep the show PG-25. Come on.
PG-25? If you're 25 and you don't like titties, I can direct you to the nearest ocean to jump in. What's wrong with you?
Planet, please.
This show is marked explicit for a reason. I'm going to use that.
This show is marked... Don't do it, Nick. This show is marked... God damn it. All right, stop. We're getting off topic here. Bring it back.
So what's another...
Nick for a pleasure. Anyway.
Oh,
I couldn't stop.
we're nicked for your pleasure.
No, we're Nick for your pleasure.
Oh. So what's another story that you had growing up that was like an urban legend? What's something you heard, not necessarily that you just find going around, because you grew up in Chicago, or Aurora or something like that, right?
I actually grew in Puerto Rico most of the time.
Okay, so
I put a roll of Chupacabra and Cucuy.
What year did you? How old were you when you got into Aurora, to Illinois? Like 12? Okay, so you probably had some neighborhood stories at that age that we wouldn't know. You know that.
Well, we got the Crystal Lake Ghost. Everybody knows about Crystal. Okay, just so everybody knows, Jason, Crystal Lake, that's actually based off of Crystal Lake, Illinois. Don't let nobody else tell you a different story. It's an actual serial killer that was here in Illinois. Just so everybody knows. Let's clarify that now.
Let's talk about that, because I had never heard about that.
Lake, Illinois. So, everybody knows the movie Jason.
Well, Friday the 13th, for those who aren't uncultured swine.
Uncultured swine. So he's an ex-murderer who walks around with a machete, hacking young women up at a sleepaway camp, basically. Like I threw two movies together like that? You like that?
Yeah. And you did it wrong, too. Jason Voorhees was a developmentally challenged person. His mother was the killer in the first one, and you're just being rude for someone with a disability, man. You're gonna...
I'm not being sensitive. Where's my safety blanket anyway?
There's a safe space in another podcast. We don't have those.
We're getting dark. It's getting bad real bad. Anyways, come back. So, true story. Crystal Lake killer took place in the 40s and 50s here in Illinois. Crystal Lake, Illinois. At the time, they weren't sure who did it. We now know that it was a man by the name of Terry likes to hack him up. I'm not really sure what his name was.
Terry Crews? Isn't he an actor?
But what he was a film. something in film. Anyways, maybe it's film or plays, whatever. But anyways, it's a true story. So the guy actually owned a house on Crystal Lake. Crystal Lake is surrounded by cabins all the way around, houses. And what happened is he would have parties at his house, and he would hack these people up. So he would literally hack people up with a machete, and then put their bodies in Crystal Lake.
Was it like his catharsis for like all his problems in life? You just hack him up and toss him in the lake?
Oh, I had a hell of a day. You come here, you're getting chopped. So, but yeah, true story. So Crystal Lake is a real place. It's here in Illinois. There's actually a Crystal Lake, believe it or not, in all 50 states. That's why there's a lot of contention of where the Crystal Lake story came from the Jason Voorhees stories. But the author was interviewed years ago. He said that he had based it off the Crystal Lake murders. There's only one account of Crystal Lake murders, and that's from Illinois here. So that's where it came from.
Well, yeah, but there was a guy also who did another movie that said that, they thought Jason Voorhees was a Deadite.
Right. That's,
So, I don't know, because, first of all, Jason Voorhees wasn't the essential serial killer in the series. It was his mother.
His mother was killed.
She was kind of a cunt. I mean, with reason, though. With reason.
There's a story of the lady, when I grew up, I don't know if you guys want to hear weird stuff, but the story of a woman named Minnie Rhodes. Minnie Rhodes had a son. His name was Joshua Rhodes, and he was adopted. This is a true story. The only reason I know it's true because I knew these people when I was a kid. I lived in a small town called Ransom, Illinois.
I've heard of this story. I know the names sound familiar.
So Minnie had a unique thing. She adopted this son, and what it was is this was actually her son's kid that he ended up getting her handicapped daughter pregnant, and they hid it. Well, Joey was his name. Joey was retarded. Not mentally completely retarded, but he was. What? A couple minutes. So Joey was mentally handicapped, but Joey grew up with me. In fact, me and Joey actually share the same birthday. We're born on the same day. We're the same age. So as a kid, Joey was really standoffish. You could tell something wrong. Come to find out, as his older years, he got 16 or 17. They investigated his house. There was this craziness going on. He went to school one day, just lost his mind, started talking to the police and his counselors and saying all this crazy stuff was going on in the house. So every day, Joey would go home, and Joey had one of those thick shoes on. He was born with a deficiency in one of his legs, so he had a thick shoe and a thin shoe. Okay, if you guys
a higher heel, yeah.
Leg braces. So, come to find out that every day when Joey got home, because his grandmother Minnie, which is his mom, and he called her mom, she considered him the bastard child, Spawn.
Huh.
She would hang him. He would come in the door. He was forced to strip down to his underwear. She would hang him by his ankles in the closet. And they found the closet. I'm not kidding. This is crazy. They actually found the closet where he was hung. There was a 12-inch thick pile of feces where he had defecated across his back because she would make him eat hanging.
Eat hay?
He would eat like hanging upside down. He would eat.
Oh, eat hanging.
He's only allowed to come out for school. You can tell because she had a garden hose that only had cold water, and she would make him bathe in a cold water hose, go to school, come home, and rehang him. And the only time he was allowed down was to do the chores, and he was responsible for cleaning the whole house. So, his mom goes to prison. Okay. Well, about 4 years later, 5 little girls go missing. And everybody suspected Joey did it. Like, everybody suspected Joey did it. Like, we all kind of knew Joey did it. Well, about a year goes by, and finally somebody notices that Joey's going to the small cemetery outside of Cornell, Illinois. He's, like, driving there. It's a 10-mile drive. He's going there. He's going there a lot. What he had done was he had killed these 5 girls, and he had dismembered them and taken their bones and built an effigy instead of a mausoleum to his mother, hanging upside down. So obviously Joey's doing life in prison, but That's the new one that the kids talk about, believe it or not.
But that's a real thing that happened.
That's a real thing. And see, that's what I was trying to talk about. Because now, my kids a couple weeks ago had said something about the Joey Rhodes. Like, if you say Joey Rhodes in the mirror. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Joey Rhodes? And like, Joey Rhodes, the psycho, comes and kills girls. And I didn't dawn on me at first. Because I'm like, man, kids no way they could have known about that. Lo and behold, they showed me online. They're talking about Joseph Rhodes. And it blew me back that I had knew that kid as a kid. We knew him. Because his family, his mom or his grandmother, Minnie, she bred huskies, Silver Siberian Huskies. And my family's always had a husky dog. Always. So we actually bought a dog from her when I was younger. So we kind of knew the family. And, yeah, it's crazy. It just goes to show you, that's what I'm talking about. The stuff that we're experiencing now. Like, I would not be surprised in 20 years from now, honestly, Jay, if Dahmer is not a folklore. Something to do with Dahmer.
Okay, so, that kid, Kip Kinkle, you heard about that? That kid that shot up that school in Oregon. Mm-hmm. I personally knew Kip Kinkle. Like, he and I knew each other.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, he didn't shoot the school up till after I came to Eureka. It was shortly after the Columbine incident. And then he did his thing in Eugene, or Springfield, one or the other. I think it was Eugene.
Eugene, I believe.
Yeah. But I knew that kid. And so it's like, it's not really an urban legend for me. It's something that happened in my lifetime.
It's hard for me, because for me, it's not like, it's not a legend. I lived it.
Yeah.
I lived it that time.
Well, it's like talking about, there was that kid that was in the garage and their parents left the car on. They were in the car waiting to go. And the kid asphyxiated off the exhaust fumes. That did happen in Eugene. That happened for somebody else. I know it happened. It happened when I was a child. It's not an urban legend, but it's a warning. So there's always like an air of truth to the urban legend to try to teach us a lesson. Usually, I think that's my point with this. Is like, well. That's why I was so confused with the Resurrection Mary thing. Like, what do you guys see? I didn't know about the darker part of it, but
see, like I said, they use it here like the boogeyman. Like it's to scare children. Like, go to sleep or Mary will get you, or don't go outside in the dark or Mary will get you. In fact, if you go to a lot of the cemeteries in the area here, you'll see spray painting on some of the mausoleums that says Mary lives here. That's what it's for. That's what it's for.
That's a thing?
It's a thing. It's very much a thing here. It's very much a thing. Like the coal man. You guys ever... I should know. It just dawned on me, the coal man.
No.
Never even thought about the coal man.
Never heard that.
So, as a child, I grew up in coal country, okay?
Yeah.
My dad worked in coal mines. I grew up in coal country. And we had a legend when I was a kid called the coal man. And whenever there was a tragedy or accident at the mine, the coal man would appear. So... The legend this is actually a very big superstition for a lot of coal miners. What they do is if there's a death in a coal mine, they light 3 lights in front of their house for 3 nights.
Really?
To ward away the coal man. The coal man enacts a price for every life that takes place, every life that's lost in his mine. He takes a life in the Greenlands, which is the outside world. So every time a person loses a life in the mine, he wants to claim 1 life in the Greenland. And that's very much, when you grow up in coal country, it's not even so much that it's a myth, it's just something you live. Like you just don't not do it. You know, somebody dies in a mine or somebody dies in a mine somewhere close to you. I mean, obviously we're not turning lights on for a guy who died in Wyoming. But if you die, at the mine, at the Quebec mine or something like that, which is here locally, or the Smithville mine, or the Silverton mine, or whatever the local mines are, if you die on one of these lines, on one of the mines, then they light 3 lights. In fact, most of the mine companies will even follow it because they want to respect the beliefs of miners. So most mine companies, if they have a death, and if you actually look at footage, I guarantee you can find this all over the United States. I know it's going to sound morbid, but look up cases where miners died in a coal mine. And look for photos the day after or the next day of the mine buildings. I guarantee there's 3 lights on in every picture. There's always going to be 3 lights on.
I had no idea.
They're going to ward away from they want to wonder why the Coal Man. They don't want Coal Man to get. They don't want the Coal Man to come and exact another life, and he only takes minors. So when he takes one life is taken in the mine. He comes out to exact his revenge in the green world and takes one minor with him.
I had never heard that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the same with the Bermuda Triangle. You know, it's all regional, I guess, in the end.
Well, and you have family in the Bermuda Triangle, right there in Puerto Rico. So, because we talked about the Bermuda Triangle at one point.
Yes, we did. Yeah, I do have family in the Bermuda Triangle, and I very much do believe in the Bermuda Triangle. Just because there's too much that's gone on there. And I'm not saying it's aliens or some magical mystical force, but something's different.
Yeah.
You know, something's strange about that area.
See, I think it's something natural that we just haven't. We either won't study honestly without making. Science is really funny. If they don't agree with it, they won't try to figure it out. So my thought is it's more of a natural occurrence that's happening, and they just won't give it the time of day.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because the Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard, will not acknowledge the Bermuda Triangle at all. It's not a thing to them. There's natural occurrences, which makes sense.
Natural missings, natural things got missing.
Which is fine. Water spouts and whatnot. Then you got that guy that flew, 10 hours and 10 minutes or some shit like that.
Yeah, the dude in the Cessna. Yeah, 10 hours, 10 minutes.
He's well recorded. The flight path is recorded. The black box is recorded. His radio stuff's recorded. It's well known he did it in whatever he was flying. So, who knows? I mean, there's so much about this world we don't understand. Because I believe we're spiritual beings. We have a body. I don't talk too much about my personal beliefs here, but we have a body and we have a soul, and I think that's a real thing. I was a mortician for a while. I worked for a mortuary. Anyway, I'll say it that way. And I just think that there's the us here and there's the us somewhere else. Not to be the Scientological or Scientological. Well, I don't know what you call a Scientologist, but or that belief. Yeah, I've been watching that Scientology.
He's watching Tom Cruise movies again.
No, I've been watching that Leah Remini thing, Scientology in the Aftermath.
Oh Lord.
Oh my God, man! I have never been so drunk in my life to believe anything like that.
Real quick, off topic, I wanted to say something real fast. I went and seen Bohemian Rhapsody.
How was that?
Oh my God, was it good?
Oh, good. I saw the guy that plays Freddie Mercury, or Farouk Balsar as he was born. And the guy, did he actually sing the parts? I'm not sure, but he looked...
Yes, he did.
Oh my God, I'm so stoked. I'm going to see that.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It was so good.
Did you see the new Halloween movie? That's my question.
I have not.
I haven't yet
on
either.
my thing tomorrow. I'm going to see it.
All right, well, you have to let me know how it was, because I haven't seen it, and I'm chomping at the bit to watch it. I just haven't had a chance yet.
My nephew went and seen it. He said it was okay, and he would know because he's like us. He's really into horror movies.
Yeah.
He comes and borrows large amounts of my movies so he can watch them, and that's all he watches all the time. He said it wasn't as good as the last two Halloweens. He said it's definitely not as good as the originals.
The ones Rob Zombie did?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that.
But I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan anyway, so.
No, those movies were garbage. I don't even like them. This is supposed to be back to the old.
Here's the problem with Rob Zombie. I don't have a problem with Zombie. I have a problem with all his movies seem like they follow the same gore stance.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great, you did something really good with The Hills Have Eyes. Why do you have to keep ruining it beyond that? Let it go. You had a great movie. You did a good run. Change it up a little bit.
And we talked about this on our Halloween show. Me and Jack talked about that. Yeah, the same shit. Why do you have to be so gory all the time? How about just do what the original thing was?
He doesn't have no. Did you see the Gacy movie he did?
No, I did not.
Go look for it. It's an underground movie he did. It's almost disgusting.
Well, I'm sure it's just. Well, first of all, it's Gacy, so it's going to be disgusting. Plus Rob Zombie.
Right. It's like giving him, it's like giving a crackhead a rock and saying, "Don't smoke this," So, giving him a story like that to play with. So yeah, he took it to. I don't know. It was rough, and I like horror movies. Like I like legitimate horror movies. Just so everybody knows, I like some classics. Like, you ever want to see a really good movie? Go watch a movie called Cannibal Campout. Holy mother, I love that movie. Just
Cannibal. Have you watched Cannibal Holocaust?
Yes, I have watched Cannibal.
That was the movie that caused so many people to shit their pants.
Yeah, it was legit.
It wasn't even that impressive at all.
What's that new movie that's coming out? I saw Overlord. Is that what it's called?
Don't know.
It's almost like Call of Duty Zombies type movie. It's the J.J. Abrams is making it.
What?
Yeah, what's it called? Hold on, let me.
You have to share the to MXCP because I haven't seen any previews for that yet.
It's
Me and zombie movies are a little bit.
Oh my god, it looks legit. It's not quite a zombie movie. What it is something that follows like that. Well, just so you guys know, me and Jay are gamers. So that original Call of Duty zombies, like that neo-Nazi zombies.
Yeah, every game has
that type of storyline. Oh my god. Yeah, legit.
See, I'm so worn out on zombies. Over it, man. The best zombie movie ever was Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, Shaun of the Dead was hilarious.
And I will fight anyone that thinks it's not true.
I will fight anybody in their face with my fist if they don't like it.
And I'll get in a actual fist fight with them. I'm not a small guy, but don't care how big you are. Shaun of the Dead, the best zombie movie ever.
I'll throw the link up here in the chat. You guys can go check it out.
Cool. Yeah, do that.
It is legit. It is legit.
Dude, did you ever see that show Doghouse?
No. I did not get a chance to see it.
English movie and whatnot?
Yes.
That was a great movie. Another one I would suggest is Lesbian Vampire Slayers or Killers. That's a great movie. It's hard to find. It's an English movie.
Lesbian Vampire Slayers is right, I believe.
I think it's Slayers,
here.
yeah.
Yes, I have that here in my collection.
Excellent fucking movie. I had to bootleg it to watch it.
There's some killer good B film horror movies that are. I mean, you gotta look at the greats. Okay, so here's the greats. Night of the Living Dead.
Absolutely, they're making a sequel now. The original producers are doing that.
It was great because at the time it was breathtakingly new. It was something totally different. Now the remake's being made by what?
No, it's the same.
Brooks' daughter or son, Annie?
Yeah, same folks. And the thing is about Night of the Living Dead, it corresponded to the social climate of the time.
Right.
The hero is a black man.
In a White House.
And he gets shot because, he's a black guy in a White House.
Right.
Who the fuck cares about Barbara?
Right.
Well, the posse does.
Yeah.
And then you move on, and it's like... But the idea overall is we're supposed to... I think the bigger part is, and I could be wrong, I don't know Romero at all, but I would say the bigger part is we're supposed to consider ourselves all the same.
Right.
Because that's what I think about people. And I do that Mel Reynolds from Firefly thing. If someone tries to kill you, kill him right back.
Yeah, that's the whole point of life, to protect yourself.
And other people too. I mean, there's a reason the Good Samaritan law exists and whatnot.
I mean, there's a reason why the Castle law exists. As much as people may not like it, it is there for a reason.
We're supposed to take care of each other, and
that's right.
If you see someone hurting somebody else and you intervene,
you're supposed to protect them.
Well, yeah. And if you don't, what the fuck's wrong with you? There's journalists all the time. People filming stuff. Well, I can't get involved because it's journalistic integrity.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, if I see somebody beating somebody up and I'm filming it, that guy's getting their fucking throat kicked in.
Yeah, I'm beating.
Integrity, your ass. You're an asshole.
Look at those kids that watched that guy in a wheelchair drown in that lake last year.
God, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Just got sentenced. All of them just got sentenced to manslaughter. They all deserve it. No,
They should get the death penalty. Fuck that.
every one of them should be sentenced.
Every fucking journalist holding a camera.
Into a wheelchair and throw him in a lake.
No, every journalist holding a camera that watches someone get beat.
Yeah.
And they make money off that. Fuck you. You're an accessory. You're part of that crime. You fucking suck.
I have about the Rodney King riots is that truck driver getting drug out of his truck and beaten on national television.
And no one did a goddamn thing to help.
Not a damn thing. They stood right there and watched.
Now, what happened to Rodney King was not great.
No.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy was a multiple felon, a violent felon, many times. Don't get me wrong. Look up his record, guys. Fuck off. File a Freedom of Information Act.
Overdose people. He wasn't a good person.
Rodney King was an asshole. He needed to get his ass kicked. Not the way he did. Not the way he did.
Warrant for his arrest. Whatever.
Not the way he did. But the reaction of that should not have been that way. That was fucking stupid.
I mean, think about that whole
Fuck
area
off.
I mean, all of downtown LA, Chinatown, gone. Just burned.
Oh, yeah. And the Good Samaritan law came into effect. People were rioting in places that he wasn't even involved in. And they were shooting people from the roofs. There were store owners shooting people from the roofs. And those people didn't get charged because guess what? They were following the law. They didn't do a goddamn thing wrong shooting those rioters. That was their right.
They were trying to burn them to death.
The Good Samaritan Act is a thing. If you... I know. But
you know what? Listen.
We care about it. We're supposed to care about each other as humans. That's the bigger problem.
I've purposely been watching the clock. I wanted to drag this out later because we did get a late start.
Yes.
And we are now beyond the hour. And I'm glad for everybody who stuck with us. Thank you guys for sticking with us to the show.
Word.
I was happy to be here. I'm glad that I had a chance to be here. Jay, as always, Vanishing Gates to the world, guys. Keep an eye on our channel because we're going to start be doing great things. Great things are coming. Make sure that you guys are subscribing to our podcast if you can. Make sure you go visit us on Patreon because any little support that you give us will be much appreciated. Make sure that you guys are being active on the page and just stopping by from time to time and saying hello because we love to hear from you. And if Jay don't get back to you, I sure enough will. Whatever you need, give us a ring-a-ding-ding-dong. And if you got a great subject, let us know because we're always willing to talk on good points. And if you want to just have us talk about something that you think needs to be talked about, and maybe it doesn't have nothing to do with paranormal activity or the spirit world or anything like that, but it's just something cool that we should maybe gab about, that's the kind of stuff I get into. So, Jay will give me a call. I'm like, hey, look, I got this subject. It's not really got nothing to do with nothing, but let's do a show. And I'll be like, hey, yeah, let's do a quick show. And even if it's a pre-recorded show, we'll post it up and let you guys watch it. We'll comment live with you, whatever. It'll get put up. And Jay, as always, I love you, man. Thanks for having me. Thank you, everybody, for the chat. And you guys have a good night.
And don't forget to check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Plus, and I think we're on Spotify now.
We are on Spotify. Yes, I have verified.
Boom.
So,
all right, guys. Thanks for watching the show. This 80th episode of Vanishing Gates. Guys, thank Nick. Don't forget to send your erotic fan fiction of Jack and Vin Diesel.
Yes, that's very
with important. An R.E. All right, guys. We'll catch you soon. Probably next week. Have a good night, guys. See ya.